Welcome back to the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. This is the professor, Kody Sprague. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Kody, welcome back to the show, my friend. How's it going?
Yeah. I tell you, you got the best intro music in the game. I swear. Every time I hear that, I want to run through a wall.
Hey,
I love it.
That's what
I love it. Love
I'm
it.
looking for. Everybody want to run in and come in, run in through a wall. That's what we're going for here on this show. No doubt about it. Hey guys, James, I definitely they are getting a little later. Kody actually kind of talked me into it. I've been moving, getting some stuff going this week, and I just really hadn't done enough. I didn't feel like, so I decided to jump on. There's a lot of stuff going on today, stuff I've been wanting to talk about anyway, and I figured why not jump on with the professor, let him talk a little bit with me, and let's kind of talk some smack on the Pac-12 and the Longhorns. That's what I want to do. So, what do you guys think about that? Let me know what you think about that, everybody. Hey, folks, if you are not already a subscriber, I'm guessing that the 6 people in here probably are, but if you're not, please do become one. Hit that like button. If not, either way, it always helps the algorithm so much. And we are on our way to 2,000 subs. We're getting close. And so, yeah, hit that like button. Make sure you continue commenting in here. Make sure YouTube pushes us out there. All right. So, Kody, I wanted to talk a little bit about, first and foremost, the ESPN FPI. Once again, they're in love with Texas. They're in love with freaking Texas. They've got them number 5. They have their conference win percentage at 54.4%. Oklahoma at number 11, but their conference win percentage is like 25.5%. So right away they're expecting, as every year, that Texas is just going to go win this thing. I don't know. I've got some thoughts about it. Now, obviously, we did some rankings this week on our quarterback rooms in the Big 12. I definitely think that the best quarterback room in the Big 12 probably belongs to the Longhorns. When you have Malik Murphy backing up Quinn Ewers, that's a pretty solid room. Not talking about Arch, he's probably going to be a red shirt, But that being said, man, I got to tell you, it's 7 freaking wins Sark. It's just 7 wins Sark. Why would we believe this shit? You know what I mean?
I tell you, ESPN is just falling and falling and falling when it comes to sports news. They used to be the top dog. They used to be the titleist of sports news. They used to be the guys, and they have just fallen off. Have you seen their recruiting rankings? I mean, they're pitiful. I don't know who's working for ESPN anymore. That's a well-known name that has prominent, sports media that knows what they're talking about, that follows teams. I mean, what do they do? Their biggest selling point is the highlight reels, right? That you watch over and over and over, the top 25 highlight reels. They don't have any takes. They don't have any information. All of those guys have gone to Fox or other places or do what we do and gone podcasting so we can make our own content because they were tired of it. ESPN, they follow all the big name schools, and that's it. They're never right. Texas is back again. That's what you're telling me?
This is what they're telling us. And it's all over. Even, we're talking, hell, the power rankings for Josh Pate had them in their top 10 even after they were 8-5 last season. They still had them in their top 10. Still. And listen, don't get me wrong. As I said, if you look at this team, should they win the Big 12? Probably. Right? they should have won the freaking damn thing at least 2 or 3 times in the last probably 10 years anyway. I mean, with the talent that they get in there every year, they've had top 5 recruiting classes
and the money.
and the money, of course. Hey, they can play the
It's
NIL game.
NIL.
They can play the NIL game. They can give people whatever the hell they want. That offensive line is built through the NIL. Hell, Quinn Ewers is freaking driving a damn Aston Martin. You know, I mean, these they go ahead.
Truthfully, they're the most prominent school in Texas. It's not Texas A&M. When you think of Texas football in college, you don't think Texas A&M. You don't think Texas Tech. You don't think Baylor. You don't think who else other. You think, unfortunately, Texas.
No,
and that's the premier school.
You do,
but
except for there being premier crap for freaking 13 years. They haven't won a conference title in 13 years. They've only sniffed it once.
Yeah. For all the talent and money now, okay, we can say money now and not get shamed on because we always knew it was about money.
Of course it was. Hey,
for all the money that they can spend now legally sure. with NIL, you're telling me they're back.
I'm not telling you
or
they're
ESPN
back.
is telling me they're back.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and not only them, you know, you start looking around. USA Today has them in the top 11, I think, something like that. CBS has yours. CBS's quarterback power rankings has yours number 3 behind Caleb Williams and our boy from North Carolina. Why am I spacing on his name right now? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I mean, and here's the thing. I think that Quinn's good. I do. I think he's got a big arm. I think he looked really good in the spring. And you know, you hear Sark talking all kinds of love. I do love this. James, great freaking comment, by the way. Mike Jones is in love with a stripper. ESPN's in love with Texas. Mike Jones. I love it. Good stuff. Ewers, number 3. Yes. All right, and that's what I said. In that power rankings, they got Dylan Gabriel is a honorable mention. But, I mean, they've got guys in there. I mean, Bo Nix, what, are you shitting me? And he's like number 4. It's crazy, right? I couldn't even believe it. But anyway, look, and it's all around. But there's a love affair with these Texas Longhorns for whatever reason, even though they don't do anything.
National brand.
You look at their first season with Sark. 6 straight losses after having the lead at the half. The first of which was that 28-3 choke job that they were up 28-3 in the Red River game, lose to Oklahoma. Horns down.
They lost the Bama game too last year.
Listen, same thing. They lost the same way to Bama last year. They were up 17 late in the third at Okie Light and choked it away. You don't freaking stamp U.S. Mail on you don't stamp U.S. Mail on Bijan's ass and send him up 17. They're throwing the fucking ball around in the wind. Just crazy.
Yep.
Who BV's worse? BV's worse.
And we've talked about.
Oh, good. Is this a Texas fan? Possibly. Oh, good. Do tell. How is this?
We talked about it. We talked about it. You know, that Oklahoma stadium has a weird wind to it. And he should have known that.
It's one of the few stadiums in the country that's situated east to west so that you get that north-south wind blowing crossways across your field. So the deeper the ball was being thrown, the further it was off. Oh, dude, you have to know. You have to know, right? You totally have to know.
It's like they said in the movie. It's like they said in the movie Friday Night Lights. You want to win, put Booby in. Yeah, you want to win, put Bijan in. Run him,
bro.
And get the damn W.
Hey, how hard is it? I give Lone Star Christian hell every time we talk about the same damn thing. You have the number 1 running back in the country.
Put Bijan in.
You didn't freaking. They underutilized that cat the entire. Dude, yeah. Hey, Roschon Johnson would have been a number. Yeah, Roschon Johnson would have been a number 1 back everywhere else probably in the country.
It's not like you were trying to save him or he had an injury. No, you had two NFL backs. You have two NFL backs, and you decide to sling it around the yard, and you lost.
Oh, and it's been going on.
When
I mean,
most
literally,
coaches would have just ran the ball.
Listen, the guy's freaking 500 for this is what he's been his whole career. He's 7 wins Sark. He's won 10 games, never. He's only won 9 games once. And the over under on him this year, I mean, you got to match the under on this one. It's 9.5. Everywhere it's 9.5 is the over under on him. I mean, just by the freaking what he's ever done, how the hell would you bet the over there? How would you do it?
I can't.
He's won 9 games
ESPN
one time.
To come out.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, and the thing with ESPN, man, how many? I bet if we went, you know what? I bet if we went the last 5 years, no, 10 years, Texas is top 15 in ESPN's polls, preseason polls.
Every year.
I bet if we look back 15 years, yeah, it don't matter the team. They're just a national brand.
Bro, every year.
Yeah, it's just like Miami last year. Miami was supposed to be a top 15 team last year too. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make a bowl game. Same shit. Is it not?
I do love Miami there too. Yes. Hey, Peg was talking about that the other day. They're back. Are they back? They've been doing good in the portal. Good for them. You know,
listen,
when you win something,
high on the Cowboys this year.
Bottom line is, okay, so the question:
on the Cowboys this year in the NFL,
taking the over on 9.5 on Texas, Weston, you're just trolling now. I know better than this. You wouldn't do such a thing.
Am I wrong though that there's national brands like the Cowboys in the NFL?
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
The Tech and the Longhorns in college football, Miami. Notre Dame is as bad as they can be. They're top 15 every year.
They're up there too. I think they're in the top 10 of the FPI. And that's coach's team, so I'm not going to get too crazy about dogging them. And you know what? Actually, they've got a good quarterback coming in. I like the direction that they're headed in. Okay, thank you, Weston.
But
we're talking smack about Texas
every year.
Yeah. No, listen, I get it. No, and that what did they have? They had them in the top 5 last year when they went into the game against Ohio State and they should have gotten smoked, but they stayed in it long enough, but they weren't that great. They didn't have a quarterback last year. They do now. With Hartman coming in, this kid looks good. He was good at Wake, and all they do at Wake Forest is win freaking football games they're not supposed to, man. There's something about that program.
Yeah,
man. It's too bad they're ACC. Man.
They run that slow mesh. It's hard to know what they're doing on offense. I'll tell you this. You know what it is? Coming from a guy that used to do sports reporting for you. You know what it is? It's laziness. It's lazy sports reporting is what it is. It's just saying, we're going to put the same 20 teams, 25 teams every year. It's laziness.
No doubt.
They're not in the lab. They're not looking at teams. Ain't none of them had Cincy 2 years ago. Ain't none of them had TCU last year. It's BS. It's all BS dude. Because they're lazy.
Bro, since TCU was picked to finish freaking what? I think 8th, 9th, something like that in the conference last season.
Nobody had them going to the Natty. Nobody.
No way.
Especially none of the big
hey, listen, I didn't have them going to the Natty, groups. To be honest with you. I'd watched that team for the last few years. And even though Sonny, I think Sonny's a better coach than most people give him credit for. But, I mean, when you hadn't seen Max Duggan do anything worth a crap in that whole time, why would you expect it?
That's fine. That's totally fine. But the problem is when you're so lazy, you can't even update your top 25. You're putting the same stuff up there every year.
Oh, dude, most people don't even watch the shit. Hey, the guys that are voting in the top 25, the polls are a joke. Whether they're coaches polls,
that makes you wonder the
polls or reporter polls. The guys the reporters that vote in these polls, they watch the team they cover. They don't fucking watch college football. Don't get it twisted. And coaches, how much do you think they watch?
Yeah. And none.
They watch
their
the
team
they
and
play.
Whatever they're scouting.
They
Yep.
watch the teams they
They're
play.
not in the lab watching Montana versus Montana State like I am at 2:30 in the morning because I'm a
No, and that's
college
the whole
football
thing.
crackhead.
Hey, you know what? People can talk all the smack they want about freaking YouTube creators and stuff like that about what they know and what they don't. Hey, man, I
Oh, we're
put the
more tapped in
professor
than
up. I will
anybody.
put my professor up against anybody when it comes to that shit. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. TCU is going to be garbage this year. I don't know about garbage. I do think that they're going to. I think they're going to have a hangover. Matt, I'm with you though.
Yeah,
I
bad
think
one.
they're going to. I think they're when you get 67 hung on you in front of God and everybody. It's a little tough to come back from, man.
Yeah.
It is. And here's the thing. Even the other thing, and this is something
Well,
that I
there's
talk
going to
about
be
with OU a lot. Everybody talks about the whole. You got to start thinking about, well, the offense was the same, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And now they're going to go through the same thing. This quarterback may have been, we're not talking, hey, come on in, coach. You want to come in?
coach.
No, we're not talking smack about your Irish.
Oh, coach.
I'll let, hey, get on Kody. Don't let the professor talk too much. You want to jump
Hey,
in,
I'm just
coach?
saying that they're nationally ranked every year. It don't matter how bad they are or how great they are. It's a national team. And yeah, it's just lazy reporting is what it is. They do no preparation. Listen, when you can ask anybody before I come on a show, at least I do a little preparation. I go look up the topics we're going to talk about. They get on ESPN and like I said, their big catch is the top 25 replays over and over and over. Everybody's
Yeah.
been in the dental office watching that stuff, right? It's like, oh yeah, I've been in here
Absolutely.
3 hours getting my teeth cleaned and yep, top 25. It's on
Hey,
par.
look, and that,
Which
but
is fine if that's what you're gonna be. That's fine if that's what you're gonna be. But don't claim that you're as locked in as what we are.
well, that's the whole point. And I mean, hey, Matt just said it, man. He'd go after us instead of fine bombing those guys. I don't know about all that, but hey, look, here's what I'll tell you. The bottom line is I've been a reporter. I know how these guys work, and I'm telling you now, the Heisman voters, the freaking top 25 voters, those dudes. You got a guy like, I'll just throw out a guy from the Albuquerque Journal. It used to be Okazi. He watched the Lobos every weekend. He didn't watch the fucking guy winning the Heisman, and he wasn't watching the top 25 team, but maybe once or twice a year if he was lucky. He sure as shit didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't see that from you and him. I promise you that. So
Yeah.
we could do all that. We do all that. I'm telling you, these guys
Yeah, we
they
do.
don't watch freaking college football, and the coaches polls are just as bad, man. Because aside from the teams that they're scouting and playing, they're not watching college football either. They're just not doing it. So then you get to these power indexes, and I mean,
Guys,
nobody knows how the hell they rate this or do this or that. I mean, I guess it goes on the number of 5-star guys you got and blah 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 blah. I mean, and I guess when you look at that, Texas has plenty of them. But the truth is, the guys aren't. I mean, here's
well,
the bottom line. They may have had a
if it's
coach.
based
Tom
off
Herman.
talent,
Tom Herman probably would be doing it right now if he was still the head coach there, right? No, of course they don't have time, coach. That's exactly the point. They don't have time. I mean, who the hell do you have time to watch? I mean, those guys barely freaking see their family during the season at all, right? They spend their entire
yeah.
time worrying about their team and about their next game. And they are sure shit
So
not
what
watching Alabama. If you're the coach at freaking anywhere in the country, you are not watching Alabama on the weekend. You're not. You're going to watch your next team,
no.
period. So it's just a
So
joke, man. But nobody knows how these
what
power
you would
indexes
have
work
to
either.
do. Well, they're just based off talent. Texas A&M was ranked last year, and look at what happened to them.
Yeah.
That was a complete dumpster fire, and they had the number one class since 247. Started keeping track of it. They blew it out of the water. This is my thing. So essentially, to do what they're wanting to do, you would have to have 20 to 25 guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would have to have 20 to 25 guys watch every college football game. That's 25 full employees. They'd have to watch it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They'd have to watch the replays of
Hey,
it.
I
And
guarantee
then,
who freaking does most of these coaches, the coaches poll, most of those guys have some GA freaking making the picks every week.
oh, for sure. And you would have to, I mean, it would take a full team to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can still get it wrong because there's always a sleeper that surprises you.
Well,
But they're still way off. They do the same thing every year,
look,
unfortunately.
and you know, and I get what you guys are saying here. That I mean, having been a reporter, I can tell you, I played the sport, so and I'm one of those guys that I can sit and watch freaking film. I mean, I used to do it with coach. I'll sit around. I mean, and when we were playing, and when I was in high school, our coach made us watch film, so I enjoy it. You know, I'm good with that. But there's a lot of guys that don't get into the X's and O's side of it. They can't watch that stuff. You know, I'm kind of a nerd like that I can't. But and plus I want to
Yeah, me too.
understand certain things. But the other part of it is that, you know, I'm not as crazy as some people are. But, you know, but I know how to, and I used to ask coach, you know, as far as like I wanted to learn about the 3-3-5. He was able to help teach me about that because that was something that they ran a lot there out in Texas, you know. And that was something that I mean, they were freaking, what was it, coach, that you were telling me that they didn't freaking score but like 3 points on you for the first 10 games of the year or some crap like that year, you know.
Well, they're
It,
trying to figure it out too.
yeah. Hey, listen, man, it works well.
You
And
know, if
it's
they're not used
especially
to
good against the
if they're not
spread.
used
I mean, well,
if they're not used to playing it either, if you only play one team run a 3-3-5 on instead of a 4-3 or a 3-4 base, you know,
sure.
it's you kind of run into a buzzsaw because you're used to seeing the same thing every
Definitely.
week, right? And then you run into this exotic stuff where they're blitzing all over. That's where the creepers, Coach Roy Ball, you know all about creepers. That's where the creepers stuff came in, where you blitz 4, but it's not the same 4 every time, and you never know where it's coming from. And then you simulate blitz. That's what the NFL is doing now. That college has already been doing. They load the
Well,
lineup
everything
looking
happens
like they're going to
in the
blitz.
college game first. We all know that. We all know that. Here's the
Yeah,
deal,
that's the
and
test.
let's not get
That's the
too
guinea
far off
pig,
a
right?
topic here. Let's make sure that we kill this whole
Sorry,
Texas
guys.
thing
I just
real
went.
quick. I don't want to
I
get too
went
far off a topic,
full
but
nerd.
what I want to say is this:
Yeah, I went full
until
nerd.
somebody freaking until Sark wins 9 games for a second time or gets that 10th win, I don't want to hear how this is the favorite, you know? And maybe they are. They've been pounding their chest since last year, since they won the Red River game the way they did without OU having a quarterback in there, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say that OU didn't lose it or that, and I'm not going to make excuses for it either. They weren't there. But I'm going to tell you now, I think that they have built this team up and they're ready to go this year. And you know what? I'm not going to guarantee a win in the game, but I'm going to tell you it ain't going to be 49-0. Now, the other part is if that's the case, if you're that good, you better go win it. And here's the deal. You saw it on the Pivot podcast. Sark's talking about this looks and sounds and smells like my football team. Okay. Well, you better go win 10 games with your football team and have a chance to. But even on Ty's videos from the other day, he was talking about this. And he was saying that Texas is the favorite. Ty Hayes. And which that's fine. I know he likes Texas. You know, he does. My deal was, I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen when he does it? If he doesn't get there, how many games does this dude have to win with all this expectation? I look down in his comment section and you got freaking Texas fans saying, well, anything over getting to the Big 12 title game, that's the goal. Everything else is gravy. Bullshit. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Bro, hey,
Yeah, it's
Matt, let me
here's
ask you
the
a
thing.
question. Matt, Kim, uh, hey, James, all you guys, let me ask you right now. Is your goal for OU just to get to the Big 12 championship game? Yeah, they're I can already answer the question for you. Hell no, it isn't. You get there, you win the shit. You get there, you win the
Yeah,
shit.
especially with the schedule you guys have. And here's the
Same
thing,
with
guys.
Texas. Texas leaves the state twice. Once to go
When
play
you
Alabama, and then they don't hardly play anybody the rest of the season.
Yeah, when you decide to go on podcasts and stuff and brag about these are my players and this is the team, and when you fail, that's a quick
Mhm.
exit meeting. That's a firing going to happen. And uh, a lot of people say that it's like kind of the same thing in Colorado, but here's the difference: Dion took over a bad team with no talent on it, right?
Mhm.
This is Sark's fourth season?
No, this is his third season. But here's the
Third
thing:
season?
he took over a
But when you
freaking
say
team.
these are my guys,
Hey,
yes,
and it is
it's
his
the same
guys.
thing like
He's got
Kirby.
a second. He's got continuity on the offensive line. He's got continuity at the quarterback position. His backup quarterback may be better than his starter, but I'll give it to you that you should probably play Quinn, right? I get it. I understand that.
I'll-
But as far as athletes are concerned, I'm going to tell you his backup may be better. If anything happens, I'm going to tell you now that there's very liable to freaking pull the plug on Quinn quick. If he starts playing like he did middle of the season last year, once he came back in, where he had the game against TCU, everybody wanted to blame it on him. The game against Okie Light, everybody wanted to blame it on him. It wasn't on him. It was on the
just
fact
hand the
that
ball off.
Sark, and this is something that Ty said on his video the other day. Sark is very good at scripting out that early portion of the game. Where he struggles
Yep.
is in making adjustments. And this has always been Sark. Right. He's never won 10 games, and he's only won 9 once. He's been a head coach for 12 years, I think, total.
With all the talent in the world at Texas and USC, right? He was at USC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
All
was
the
at
talent in the world.
USC. He was at
So you've been in
Washington. He
minus
started at Washington, was his first head coaching gig. Then he goes to SC. Then he goes to Texas, and he still hasn't won 10 games. He's
So this
7
is what
wins
I'm
Sark,
saying.
boy. He's 7 wins Sark. That's it.
When you've been to two of the biggest fruitful
Facts,
recruiting
James.
grounds, not Florida, and you can't get it done, and you're the number one school in the nation, or not in the nation, but in that state, you're not the guy. I'm sorry. You've been to SC, which is the number one school in California, a fruitful recruiting grounds, right? Now you're at the University of Texas, the number one school in Texas for as what everybody can say. They are the number one school in Texas when it comes to recruiting. They have all the money. And you can't get it done at both those schools, you're not the guy. I'm sorry, you're not a winner. You're not a gamer.
Bro,
Yeah, you
the
might be
guy
a great
is
recruiter. You might be a great coach. You
he's
might
a good
love the
he's a
kids.
good
You
coordinator.
might
I
be a
think he's
great dude,
but here's the
but
difference
you're
between
not
being a
the
coordinator.
guy.
When you're working for Pete Carroll, or you're working for, because he did, or you're working for Nick Saban, and then the adjustment
Or
comes
you're
from them, and they're going to tell you, hey, would you freaking take the ball out of the air right now? We're up 17. Run the
or you're
football.
Dan Mullen working for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Absolutely.
when Dan Mullen did it on himself, guess what? He never won a natty. The dude's not a gamer. Sark's not a gamer. It is what it is. I'm sorry.
No,
The
listen.
stamp of non-approval is
I hope he
just
stays
that.
there forever. I hope he stays there forever.
Well, yeah, me too. They're coming to the SEC. So
Yeah, I hope he stays forever. And listen, literally 6 games in a row in his first season, they had the lead at the half, and they choked it away. 6 games in a row. Right?
that's
He
adjustment.
wins 5 games the first year. Yeah, he can't adjust. Last year, a lot of the same, right? The Texas Tech game, they were winning in the fourth quarter, choked it away. The freaking same with Okie Light, winning in the fourth quarter, choked it away.
And you know what the crazy thing about that is, Jason? It'd be one thing if the run game was anemic, right?
You think they want revenge? Yeah, I think they want revenge there, Matt. What do you think?
Am I wrong,
I want
though?
revenge. Huh?
It's one thing if you're like, okay, the run game is really anemic. Like, we don't have two great backs.
Brother.
You got two NFL backs. You got not one.
And listen, their
two.
offensive
You're
line was
blessed.
already good. It was already good, man. They had already
Yeah.
paid all those dudes, and they all got them. Here's the thing. What I would tell you is, so here's my question for everybody here. Since we're saying this, and we're going to sit here and continue talking trash. I mean, this is what we do. But here's the point. I want to know if he doesn't, because now you're looking at a moment where there is no more excuses. You really don't have any excuse for not at least getting in the Big 12 championship game. And really, you probably ought to win it, as far as, because on paper you probably are the best in the conference. Now, if he wins 8 again, or maybe he wins 9, but he doesn't get to the conference championship game, do they shit can him the year before you go to the SEC?
And I'm here to tell you this. If they're struggling in the Big 12, what are they going to do in the SEC? They're going to get mollywopped. They are going to get bludgeoned.
They seem to think they're not, and that's the whole thing. I just think, here's the thing: when you have,
if I was I'd go after Texas QB.
I was surprised that they didn't go after Malik.
Listen,
but here's the thing: I think that they paid the shit out of Malik, by the way, because I don't think that, I'm going to tell you this: everybody thought that Arch was going to like get. I mean, I even was probably buying into that a little bit. You forget about Malik, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think that there's a chance in hell you see Arch on the field this year. Not a chance in hell. But I'll tell you what, if I believe that Ewers could get hurt, but I think that if he goes through this much struggle, they're liable to stick Malik Murphy in there. And if he gets in, he may never come back out.
That's the thing too, and the best ability is availability, and Ewers last year wasn't available, right? So now Malik's just sitting there licking his chops, waiting.
I don't think Malik was probably ready last year, but he was showing flashes,
he looks
and everybody
good
was
this year.
Oh, dude, he looks really good, and he's definitely a better athlete. Now, what I would tell you is I think that Quinn Ewers is an NFL quarterback. I do. He's got a big arm. He's accurate. I think that if Sark uses him correctly and doesn't fall in love with the passing game, which they have a plethora of receivers too. Again, on paper,
Coach said shoot him the link.
Okay, it's on the link.
And
I
Mark
actually
James,
stuck it in there, but I'll send it right now.
Mars James, real fast. That would be tampering if we went after him and he wasn't in the portal. So
right,
and I understand
that
things happen.
Shit.
It matters when you're running a high class program like over at the University of Florida. Okay, it's not like it's not the urban era. Okay,
I was going to say, what are we talking about here?
We got
Aaron?
Murders and
what our boy Aaron? Oh, dude.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. I've been on for I was on a different podcast for about an hour and a half, so I'm gonna take a quick break real fast.
Coach. Hold on real quick, Coach. I'm trying to send it to you now. Sorry about that. It's in the It's coming. Oh, the coach is coming in, folks. The coach is coming in. Yeah, USC and Riley be tampering. Oh, dude, come on, man. We already know. Folks, while we're at it, and as I'm waiting on these guys to come back in, make sure that you hit that like button if you haven't already. We got 18 in here. That's a little more than I expected at this hour of the day and night. So glad that you guys have joined us in here. Anytime is a good time to talk smack about the Longhorns, is it not? What does he say? I just think there's the coach. There he is. Hey, throw him down. Thanks for coming in the right way, Coach. How you doing?
What's happening?
What's up, man? Look at him. Check it out, folks. He's got him a new microphone now.
Absolutely, baby. Check it out. I'm big timing now.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Hey, now with this new mic right here, I can give you the top 25.
Give it up. Who is it? Hey, the professor.
Hey, you guys are awesome, man.
Hey,
You
man,
guys are friggin' awesome.
Man, thank you, man. I'm glad you popped in. I didn't know. I was like, shit, it's a little late. I don't know. Maybe
what's up,
I should have
Coach?
hit him.
What's going on, man?
Oh, another day in paradise. You know it.
You guys work too damn hard doing this stuff.
I know it.
Hey, man, it's not work when you love it. It's not work when you love it.
Yeah,
I work too
you know
damn
how it
hard all
is.
day. I'll tell you that. That moving shit sucks.
It's kind of like when you're coaching, you know what I mean? And it's Friday, the game day, and you put all that work in, but is it really work?
Nah.
When you get the little tingles in your gut on kickoff and you hear the chant from the crowd, it's not work, right?
No, it's not. You know it's not. It's friggin'
Too much
great.
fun. Too much fun, man. Too much fun. Yeah, hey, Coach, and we were just talking about it. Obviously, you were in there and kind of talking in on it too. What's your thoughts about this? That they're favored to win the Big 12 in this final season in the Big 12.
Hey, you know I'm not a Sark fan. He can't wipe his ass and win 7 games.
It's 7-win Sark, baby. That's what he does.
That's what he does. Hey, Kim. No, I'm not. You know, they got to prove up to me. He hadn't proved himself, and here they are again. They're talking, you know, big smack. You know, I just don't buy it. Show me the money.
I still don't understand
Coach,
how. I mean, I guess it's the FPI stuff, but it is what it is.
Coach, you've been around a lot of different coaches. What is that about guys that just don't make adjustments in the second half? What do they think that their shit don't stink or what? What is it? Because Coach Sark. Let's be real. Coach Sark is not the only one that does it. There's a lot of coaches that are getting paid a lot of money that don't do it. What is that?
I tell you what, guys, and I, you know, again, I think it's the people you surround yourself with. I think that's critical because, you know, as the head coach and you're on the sideline and you know, you're taking everything in, special teams, offense, defense, and it's a lot of times it's hard to lock in on adjustments that you need to make. And those need to be made by those assistant coaches when the offense is out on the field. You know, defense needs to be talking. You know, what was going on. You know, you need to be looking at you know, everything you're keeping down on paper and saying, you know, look, this is what they're doing on 3rd down, and this is what they're doing on 2nd and long or 2nd and short. But it's, to me, it's all about communication.
Right.
And those staffs, and I mean it when I say the staff, they've got to go in and they've got to be able to say, these are the things that are happening to us. But not only that, that's okay. You may go into halftime and say, boy, this is all they're doing to us. But what do you have in your repertoire to be able to stop those things? And I think that's part of the pregame planning too. And it's not just per team that you plan that. You know, what are the things that we can go to when a team's hurting us on 3rd and less than 3 yards?
Right, right. Well, and can you get, I mean, you gotta have to anticipate kind of some of those things. That was something that we talked about. You know, I remember back then that you was like, you would kind of anticipate how they were going to adjust to something that you were going to do defensively. Yes. And so you would anticipate that and you're going to adjust right with them. Right. So you expect it to come, right?
That's where the wrinkles come in.
I'm telling you guys, it's a chess game. It's a game of chess. And you know, some people are good at playing chess and some people suck. And it's the same thing with
some people are playing chess and others are playing checkers.
Yep.
Exactly.
Sark is a checkers guy.
Coach, real fast. I got 2 questions for you, real fast. Guys, I don't get Coach Roybal on very often, so when I do, I geek out. I'm sorry. My first question.
Well, Kim had a good question about this too. So let's hit him real quick.
Okay.
With the rules in place, will defense be irrelevant or not as effective? What are you, Kim? Are you asking, like, you know, Are they trying to make defenses less relevant? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I think they're just trying to be safer on the players. It does hurt the defenses a little bit, but we dove into it a little bit about 3-3-5 and creepers and stuff like that. There's way to get pressure on the quarterback, right, Coach?
Absolutely. There's more ways, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. Hell, I can't type worth of shit, but we were running that 3-3-5 4-4 stack look type defense years ago, and that's what we were doing, using the creepers and
sim pressure, stuff like that.
We were skimming in and out. Hell, they didn't know where we were coming from,
and that's it, because that running back has to pick up the pass block, right? A lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, this kid's a stud running the ball, but he's not in because he can't pass block.
Right.
That's and for the average fan, they don't understand that. They say he's a 5-star, he needs to be running the ball, but if he can't pass block, Coach, he ain't going to be in there, right?
No, in today's offense, you got to be able to pass block as a good running back. I don't care if you can run the ball or not. You can run the rock, but if you can't block and protect your quarterback, you're not going to be in the game very much. Or if you are, then
situational.
I know defensively what I'm going to do. I'm fixing
stack
if you're
in the
ball
box.
game. Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to run the football.
Real fast. Now, Coach, did you prefer your offensive and defensive coordinators to be on the field or up in the box?
I preferred my offense coordinator to be in my box. I preferred my defense coordinator to be on the field.
Okay.
And that's now I've had it all kinds of different configurations. And, I also wanted my coordinator to feel comfortable. Where did they feel most comfortable?
Right.
Some guys like the high view and being up in the box, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some coaches, you probably want to keep them away from your players too, because
that's another
hotheads. Yeah.
And Jason, and I had some here at Hobbs that I'd rather keep their ass in the box and down on the field because I didn't want them around the players.
Right, they lose their mind. Yeah,
it's kind of like I don't know if you guys have seen the clip about Roethlisberger. He's talking when AB was his OC, and AB didn't realize that the mic would automatically turn on, and he'd be like, "What is Roethlisberger effing doing? This guy's an idiot." And then he'd be like, "Oh yeah, looks great, Roethlisberger. Just keep on doing what you're doing." And he didn't know that the mic was already live.
I love shit like
He's like,
that.
"Coach, I heard what you said the first 15 seconds." But yeah,
exactly.
it's that some of those coaches and some of those teams are built to where you can do that. You can be rough on them, and some of the other teams are you got to be a little more gentler with
Listen,
them.
there's every player's like that. That's the whole difference. That's something the coach will tell you all the time.
Personality. Every team has its own personality, and just like you said, I mean, some teams you can be really hard on, and others not as much. And just like you said, Jason, I may have two quarterbacks. If I'm rotating quarterbacks, which I don't like to do, but if I did have that situation, there's one I may be able to chew his ass out on every down, and the other one you gotta baby him and pat him on the back, and so
to get the most out of him. Hey, the kids are like that. I mean, your kids are different. I mean, I've got 3 kids. My daughter was a soccer player when I was coaching her. I had to get in her ear and say something shitty to her to get her to do anything. But it would make her play well. If I did that shit to CJ, he'd shut down.
Yep. Same with my son.
He ain't trying to hear that shit. You couldn't do it.
You're right.
It's just the way it was. So, I mean, with your kids, it's different. With everybody's kids, it's different. It's just how it is. Looking at, okay, real quick, I want to jump into some of these.
Kim,
we got everybody talking. Yeah, Saban's always bitching.
Yeah,
he's
always
that's all he bitches about everything. I'm sick of that guy. Lots of parity in the B14 this year. KSU, UT, and TT. Where the hell's OU, C-John? What's up? Come on, man. It looks like the top dogs this year. Okay. Coach, do you prefer 4 up front or 3? He was a 3-3-5 guy. But
Well, and again, I talked about it a second ago. We'd go to a 4-man front, we'd go to a 3-man front,
Mhm.
and it was all predicated on what we were looking at, down and distance, those kinds of things.
Right.
Also, you got to lock into your back end as far as your secondary piece. And again, if you're
Sure.
running a 4-man front, that guy's probably in some fashion coming from the secondary screwing down, or you've got different things going on. So again, three-man front, 4-man front, you can still do the same thing out of both. And so again, I think all that was predicated on what we felt. If we were going to get heavy run, we'd like the 4-man front. If we were getting a heavy pass game, we'd like the 3-man front. But still, that player that we backed off the ball, if out of the 4-man front, hell, he may be same guy that we pulled off may be coming off the edge, or maybe we may be running a thumb stunt where we're running the tackle outside and the end inside.
Drop him out in the flat.
Yeah, lots of things could happen off of that.
I'll say this real fast, guys. Coach Roybal could be Saban, Kirby Smart, and Bear Bryant all rolled into one. But if the other coaches around him isn't very good, it doesn't matter. And your position coaches are the guys that come to you during the game. We talk about adjustments and Sark. And the position coaches say, hey, I got a guy. I know he's a second string guy, but he's in the zone today, coach. Let's feed him. Feed him. Or if he's getting penetration inside on the D line, listen, I know like he's the third stringer, but he's popped every single play we put him in. Just keep feeding him. And that goes down to position coaches, and they know their players best. Coach Roybal may not know every single position.
No.
What's going on. He's got 25 other things he's dealing with.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing that he's been talking about a lot, just like with BV and all that. That this is a transition when you go from being a coordinator, even from a coordinator, to being a head coach, is that you got the whole damn team to worry about, and you've got a lot of CEO type of stuff that you need to be taking care of. You don't have time to coach every position. Now we still see BV out there coaching them up, especially them linebackers and some of those other guys, which is great.
That's fine.
One of the questions we're getting here is how would I play Tebow? I would do what BV's did. I mean, listen, when you start looking at the teams that beat Lincoln Riley, and let's not get it twisted. Lincoln, he'll put some fucking points on the board. He will. That's all there is to it. So what you got to do is you better be big up front. You better be big and nasty up front. Put a lot of pressure on that quarterback. If you look at what Utah did to him last year twice, they boogered up freaking they were in Caleb's grill all damn day. And if you look at that conference championship game, I mean, he was beaten to hell by the time it was all over with. Same thing that they did. I mean, look at what Clemson did to Baker that first year whenever Coach Stoops was still the head coach, but Lincoln was the coordinator. Look at what they did to Baker. They beat the crap out of him the whole freaking game in that CFP, that first CFP that they went to, right?
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you're getting a lot of pressure. And I think that the same is true for most of these high-flying coaches, the guys that get out there, spread it out, and go.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, same. Yeah, hey, listen, Heupel's the same guy. He runs that damn same offense that he learned it from Leach, just like Lincoln did.
This is what you do. You want to know that the magic formula to get close, to be there at the last second. You run the ball down their throat, and you do it over and over and over again. And you do 12 and 14-minute drives, and you grind that defense
and it's
out.
It's good to have a dog.
They're gonna score
at quarterback just too. I mean, if you look at a guy like Cam Rising, that dude's a freaking alpha male.
Yeah.
Period. He's going to go out there and compete.
They're going to score. You're not going to stop the scoring. You can slow the scoring down with the run game.
Absolutely. And you just got to hope that and with Lincoln, the chances are if you can stay close enough, he's going to do something stupid like squib kick it or freaking that dumbass freaking stepping out. What did he do with the Cotton Bowl? What the hell was he thinking?
I mean,
the whole deal.
Am I wrong there, Coach? Though you got a high-powered offense. You run the ball down their throat. You keep the defense on the field, and you do 12 and 14-minute drives if you can.
You
They're
sustain those
50% to
drives.
win the conference, Matt. Just so you know.
You've got to sustain drives against people like that, and
Yes.
you
Keep them
got
out of
to
rhythm.
that's right. You got to sustain drives. You want to keep because he's looking for high scoring ball games. He wants to score lots of points.
Yeah.
All those guys that
Mike was
came
like
from
that. Leach was always that way, man. He didn't
that
give a shit
family
about
tree,
defense.
exactly. That
But if
family
you
tree.
can, if you can get 2 or 3 3-and-outs, boy, does that change the game
completely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do. Like you said, you sustain some drives, keep the score low, and then you got a chance to win that ball game.
Now, I'm not saying you run it 25 times in a row. I'm saying you
throw it.
swing pass, you swing pass, you swing
Balance
pass.
should always be the goal, no matter what, offensively. And I'll speak to offense before I'll go too crazy on the defensive side of things, because that's where I came from an offensive system where I grew up here in high school. We watched tons of film on tons of different defenses in the way that, we were one of the first spread teams in the state, but the spread offense is soft. It depends on how you're running it. Now we had guys
on the running backs,
and it depends on your running backs. There's time the best spread offenses, and honestly, what Lincoln does best is run out of the damn thing. He runs out of the air raid, and that's what makes him different than a lot of these air raid. Coach Leach used to bitch about it all. This is not the spread, or that's not the air raid. He runs the ball too damn much. He'd say it. Right?
But if you got a bell cow back there that can, a Adrian Peterson or somebody generational, Bijan Robinson like that, and you have the air game like that, and then you can hand it off, and he's going to give you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a clip. Boy, that's scary, right?
Look, those are the guys that look. And here's the thing: there are some soft ass freaking teams that run the spread. I'll give you that. There are a bunch of, and here's the thing: what the spread is, it's a great equalizer for teams that aren't big, run over your ass type of teams. Which is why
Roybal had to do it.
Coach Roybal had to do it. He got to Hobbs. This is a basketball pressing town. This is what they do. They run, they gun, they do that kind of stuff. They weren't monsters, right? And you were only going to get so many of those kids that were. And when he got there, there was a strength issue, right? Am I right?
No, yeah.
There was a strength issue. So trying to run what he was used to running at Skyline, which was the triple option, or the triple I. Isn't that what it was? The triple eye, the sniffer eye, the old sniffer eye.
No sniffer.
But it's not like he was playing in Iowa.
And so he went to that. It wasn't because, and coach was shit. He wanted to run out of that damn thing, though, right? You wanted to be able to open it up and run. So it just kind of depends on what it is. But what you're really trying to do is you're just trying to get some mismatches in places like because if you're smaller than the other team you're trying to run over them, that shit ain't gonna work.
No.
So that's, again, it's chess. You got to get in there and do some different things. I love this comment here. How much is Bear gonna have to lose over under on 25 pounds? I'm gonna take the over there.
I'll take the over.
The over too.
I don't think he loses anyway. I think he stays where he's at, and they're going to use him. They're not going to use him like George used him. They're going to use him situationally. 3rd and 2.
I think obviously you have
1.
to. First off, there's not enough. There's not going to still be enough. How much of an impact is Bear going to make there?
Oh, they think they're winning a national championship because of one transfer.
Somebody was asking that. What are we expecting out of them? What's their expected record?
Guys,
there's the country that are in the FPI and shit like that. They're all expecting them in the playoff this season. I don't know how they're expecting this, but they are.
Bear is not number 1. He's not Aaron Donald. Let's get that straight. Number 2, he's not even that big. He's not that bad. We have a 450-pounder at Florida named Big Des Watson. He's 450 pounds. That's beef. Okay?
Right.
That's a big man. He's 6'8". They think that, one transfer is going to win them a natty. Oh, the defense is going to be a top 10 defense because we got one nose tackle. Come on, guys.
Right.
Let's be real.
No, and Weston, you're right on this. Levy's more of a spread guy. Lincoln Riley is an air raid. And again, look at Levy though, but they run a lot of with their spread. They're running a lot of that, the option. You know, I mean the what is it? Shit, why did I just lose my train of thought there? Obviously, the read option. They do a lot of read option stuff, which everybody's doing a lot of that stuff. But
RPOs.
Lincoln
RPO.
RPOs, yeah, and Lincoln really doesn't. Right, he runs it differently. They're trying to get it and go downhill. But I mean, look at what Levy did with. I mean, Eric Gray. He did not look that good in Lincoln's offense. He didn't. He looked a lot better running for Levy last year. So you can run out of the spread. It all depends on how you do it and what you're trying to scheme up. The difference is, I've said this a lot. There's a big difference between what Levy and those guys run and what Lincoln runs. It's not the same shit. The terminology is not the same. The routes aren't the same. The RPO stuff is not the same. I mean, they just don't do it. It's a lot of the stuff that you saw last year where maybe they weren't on the same page and you saw a lot of drops and shit, a little timing issues and stuff like that here and there. Now, I will remind everybody that they were still a top 15 offense in the country. So before we get too crazy on that, what they were doing as far as, and the other part of it, I would tell you is that I believe that Coach Venables kind of got into his Kool-Aid a little more than he probably should have at times, because the bottom line is, and we've said this a bunch, this clock management stuff, if you are a hurry the hell up team and you want to go fast, there ain't no such thing as clock management, fellas. There just isn't. You don't change gears in the middle of a fucking game. You just don't do it.
Clock management is tough too as a coach, because you're dealing with 25 different things.
But the way you manage the clock is to be a little smarter hey, listen, part of managing the clock is to stop somebody, for God's sakes.
I don't like clock management. You know what clock management is? People that say that this coach has, the same thing about Billy Napier was said at Florida. He has bad clock management. Guys, we're watching on a TV sitting on our sofa. We don't have a clue what's going on. We really don't. We don't know what their game plan is, right, Coach? And then I say this.
You hit it. Yes.
I do want to ask, go ahead, Coach, but I want to ask you this real fast on RPOs.
Yep.
But go ahead on the clock management stuff.
Well, the clock management guy, that's, people talk about, and it's important. Obviously, it's important. Be smart about using timeouts. Be smart about, because you see coaches, guys, and you see the big time coaches making these mistakes.
Look at that guy they had as the head coach of Denver last year. That guy was a knucklehead. He didn't have a clue.
We just lost 20 or 30 seconds, or sometimes you can go through and
right.
They lose a lot of time. But again, I'm going to go back and use a different word instead of clock management. I'm going to use situations. Those are things that you've got to work during the week. Is situations.
You don't practice clock management.
Exactly. If you
practice situational football,
then you can get those things. And you know what? Every week we worked situations, and what we did is every morning we'd go out on the field and we'd have a 20 to 25 minute segment of just situations. And in every phase of the game,
15 seconds,
anticipation again. But exactly. and part of that shit is, hey, they talk about complimentary football and stuff like that. Look, man, first of all, they've already decided what they're going to compliment each other is. We're going to stop them, and you're going to go score, and we're going to want you to go score fast. Okay, so you can't, and then. And I know that Coach Venables was kind of, like I said, he was in the Kool-Aid a little more than he needed to be. When all that stuff started coming up about Saban wanting Levy to come to Alabama, right? And don't think for 1 second that Levy didn't use that as some leverage to say, hey, back the fuck up. Let me do my thing here. Yep. And because you're kind of, I'm going to run this thing the way I am. And I'm not blaming anything. I mean, Levy, I'm not saying he was perfect, because he wasn't. Okay, there were some of the play calls you look at it and like, what the hell was that? But you're going to say that. I think that you're going to find some of these things.
Every program has it. Every program.
Yeah.
The tunnel screen to Henderson. We were yelling.
Hey man,
at
you're
the
going to get it in
TV.
every game too. I mean, there's times that you look at. I mean, it's just like with
You're
passes.
like, that's a dumb call until it works.
We have this. Our memories are short, or as far as like the realities of things. I mean, Baker Mayfield never missed a fucking pass while he was at OU. Neither didn't Kyler Murray or any of these guys. They never missed a throw.
Yeah, never ever.
Dylan Gabriel ain't never hit one.
Never.
You know what I mean? And so a lot of times that we see these things and we say these things, and that's just kind of how we feel about it. But the truth of it is, Weston, I like this. He says it may have been his fault because he said it was time to move on from Lincoln. Yeah, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, man. Bottom line is, I think that when you start getting into, and I don't know where the hell this all ended up or how we got into this part of the conversation.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah, we did go down one. But it's fun, man. I mean, the truth is, look, how much truth is Lebby and Bama stuff? Look, you know what I'm going to tell you? I don't know how true it was about Alabama, but I can tell you that Georgia wanted his ass real bad. That's everything I keep hearing.
Guys, Lebby's really one of the best coaches in the country offensively.
There's no doubt about it.
Coach, I got a question for you. Somebody brought up RPO earlier.
He's probably not going to be there much longer.
What does that do to a defense as a defensive coordinator? Guys that run a true RPO, what is that? And we see Wake Forest with the slow mesh. They really expanded out.
The slow mesh.
What does that RPO really do to a defense when you're trying to call a play? Because there's run blitzes, there's pass blitzes. And guys, if you don't know, we're just trying to educate you a little bit because we're all nerds. But go ahead, Coach.
No,
just wanted to get them off their timing, right?
Yeah, great example because a great example was Wake Forest because they ran it so well, and it puts a lot of pressure on your defense, and that's why you saw Wake Forest win a lot of ball games against people they shouldn't because they couldn't really defend the RPO game. Because
didn't you say that earlier, Jason?
That's right.
Yeah, it's just very difficult, guys, because that quarterback's got a chance to give the ball, to pull up, and throw the ball.
Imagine if Wake could recruit.
Oh, well, what,
it'd be nasty.
If they had athletes like Georgia and Alabama and
oh my God, it would be so bad.
They'd be.
If they have the athletes that North Carolina gets, you know what I mean?
So, Coach, because they're running, the wide receivers are running pretty short routes. Obviously, you have the slow mesh with the ball coming out. It's almost, how is it harder than a play action? I ask you this: how is the slow mesh RPO harder than play action?
Well, there's a lot of similarities in it, but the play action, you already know it's going to be pass. I mean, not the defense, but you're still one dimensional in that
because
scheme.
the offensive linemen are pass blocking,
right? Because in the RPO scheme, you don't know which one's coming, so the linemen are going to tell you what's happening when you're looking at it from the defensive perspective.
We're doing I feel like I just ended up with Jaws and stuff in here. We're going deep in the weeds here today.
I'm sorry. I don't get coached that often. Okay?
All right. I know. Hey, listen, here's the deal. I'm going to take this thing back real quick. We're going to talk a little bit more about this other stuff, but I love this stuff too, man. I love talking. I mean, we could sit here and freaking do this all day. And if you guys are enjoying that, let me know. We can continue with that, but I want to get back to this Lebby stuff because this is what our audience is asking for. So I want to stick with them for a second, okay?
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
I get so excited when Coach is on, and
hey, man, everybody does, man. I love the coach. I'm so glad he's here. I'm glad he joined us, Coach. How much the truth about the Lebby stuff? Listen, again, as I said, I'm telling you, man. Coach said it. He's one of the best offensive coaches in the country, and there's any number of programs. I'm going to tell you, Lane Kiffin was pissed when he left. Pissed. And everybody thinks, well, Lane was calling that shit. Maybe.
No.
But I'm going to tell you, if you don't think that Jeff Lebby had a big part in what was going on there, you're not paying that much attention, because these guys know, hey, there's very few people that know offense like the Bryles family. And Lebby is part of that freaking family, man. He's married into the damn thing, and he coached with them. And these dudes can dial it up. Look at that year. I mean, shit, Robert Griffin III.
You said that Georgia won.
Yes.
Georgia won Lebby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense, because a very prominent.
So did Nick. I think Nick wanted him. I don't think he wanted him as much as. I think that Nick, just me and Coach talked about this early in the year, and I think that if there was a reason that Saban really wanted him, it was to kind of, and don't take it the wrong way, that they were afraid of Oklahoma. No, what it was to sabotage Oklahoma before they ever came to the SEC. He wanted to say, he knew that Venables was going to put a defensive team together that's going to be a pain in the ass when it gets to the SEC. Let's cut the freaking knees out from under them with their offense now.
That makes sense, guys, because a very
that's why he would have taken him. But I think Kirby wanted him for another reason, because he wanted to maybe kind of evolve his offense a little bit.
Look who he got.
Do it with Jeff.
Look who he got. And hold on real fast, Jason. A very big Georgia YouTuber, the biggest one, Uncle Lou, threw a absolute fit when they hired Bobo.
Yep.
The guy, you were worried he was going to jump off a cliff. He was so mad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they saw that before. And that makes sense now that you say that about Libby, that they wanted Libby. It didn't happen. So what'd they do? They hired Bobo instead. Because they had no other option.
Oh yeah, man. And I mean, and I think a lot of people were pissed off about Bobo, especially at Georgia, because he's been there before, and didn't work. They lost the national championship and all that, and then he was the OC at that point.
And he was a scapegoat.
Yeah, of course, man. And never mind the fact that freaking you just got beat. They threw in a guy that you had never seen before in Tua, and he just came and kicked your ass. That's all it was, They took a guy from Jalen Hurts that can't throw to feed the starving birds. Still today in the NFL, they keep him out of trouble. They throw little underneath routes and bombs that he don't have to be that accurate with. You can throw it and let a receiver go get under it. There's a difference in quarterbacks that have real arm talent and that. And Lincoln did that same thing when Jalen was in Oklahoma. He had to save his ass. Look at the Baylor game that they came back in. It wasn't because Jalen was great. It was because Lincoln was great that night. Lincoln called the best second half I've ever seen.
And that's the thing too, guys, is calling a game. And Coach can say there's probably some games that
I was in freaking Waco that night. I'm telling you, I was pissed and ready to leave, and I watched Lincoln do. Coach, he put Jalen in the position he called a perfect second half. Period. There was no other way around.
That's rare. That's rare. And Coach, have you ever called a game in all of your time of coaching? Have you ever called a game where you look back and said, it wasn't the athletes, it wasn't the assistants, it was my play calling that lost that game?
Oh, hell. Every time we lost.
No, for real, though.
No. All kidding aside, yes. All kidding aside, you look back and you say, if I would have made this decision, we would have had a chance to win the ball game. Absolutely.
There ain't no way.
Some of the greatest coaches in the world have said that. Steve Spurrier said that about a game against South Carolina he lost. He said, it was my fault. I called a bad game.
Sometimes even the
it's
greats,
not the athletes.
Even the greats ain't perfect.
It's going to happen.
This is not. Hey, man.
And you know what? Those players will run peanut butter and jelly for you because they love you so much. They don't care what the play.
It's the same. Right? Hey, look at those guys. I mean, have you ever seen Brent Venables freaking go easy on a kid? Because I haven't, and they love him for it. They love it. He beats them to death out there on the and doesn't cut them any freaking slack whatsoever. He doesn't in the press conferences. He doesn't
That's
on
what
the
it should
field,
be.
and they freaking love him for it. Every one of them that's played for. We had one of Coach's former players on here on Tuesday. He played for Coach Venables, and I mean, this guy had to carve out a place with playing with Tommy Harris and Gerald McCoy. Tommy Harris and Gerald McCoy. And this kid that played for Coach carved himself out a spot on that defensive line. And he loves Coach Venables.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Coleman, right? Stephen Coleman, right?
Yep. Stephen Coleman.
What a great, I mean, that was a great, I enjoyed having him. I hope we get to get him more. That was a lot of fun, man, the other night. And I hope we can, maybe catch him a few more times because I think he had a lot of fun.
Oh, he enjoyed it. He texted me afterwards and thanked me, over and over. Coach, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity. And again, like you said, he played there with some, Hall of Fame kind of guys, and he
tells you a lot about who he was as a player, though, and how hard you said he was one of the smartest players you ever coached. He had to have been, and I mean, because. Yeah. When you look at Gerald McCoy, I mean, he's guaranteed to. I can't imagine him not being a Hall of Famer. Right. He's got better numbers than most defensive tackles in the game history. Period.
Exactly.
Tommy Harris, same thing, man. These guys are unbelievable. Yep. And this guy, he got to start. He said he had to wait 3 years to play, but he got it. I mean, he waited his turn, and that's the beauty of it. And here he is now.
Those were the good old days without the portal.
Yeah, listen, I get it, man.
Portal's tough.
And the portal is tough. And I think that's you guys are right about that. You're missing something of guys realizing that it takes more than just your talent, your God-given talent, because they all got it. Everybody at the damn place, everybody at the school has it. Everybody they've recruited, they're all just like you. They're all just like you, man.
And then when you get to the next level, it's even tighter.
Bigger. Oh man,
the tolerances are tighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, real fast. Billy Gonzalez gets hired in at Florida as a wide receiver coach. Just real fast. I heard from a little birdie that you used to coach with Billy Gonzalez.
I did. We called him Gonzo.
Gonzo. That's still his nickname. What kind of coach was he?
Gonzo was an incredible coach. He was probably one of the best young coaches I've ever seen or ever even worked with personally. And I knew Gonzo was gonna be a big timer even back at Midwestern State where we worked together. And obviously went on to Florida and worked with Urban Meyer, and he was with Urban for a long, long time. And that's a whole different story that I don't want to get into now, but Gonzo always did the right things, but he's one of the best receiver coaches in the country.
No doubt about that.
And some people give him flack because he's still a wide receiver coach. Same with Brian Hartline.
Hey man, some of these guys, that's what they recruit their asses off, and they freaking put out NFL receivers.
But you know what, guys, Gonzo wasn't interested in becoming a head coach. He loves what he does, and let's face it, guys, not everybody wants to be a head coach. Because it changes your whole world. In all honesty, being a head coach can be a real big pain in the ass.
I made a video.
Hey man, that win-loss record is on one guy, not the whole damn squad.
Guys, it's not even about
Brenna, thank you so much for coming in real quick, guys. Brenna, thank you. I didn't even know you watched this show, so thank you so much. This is one of my good friends from high school. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Welcome in. Go ahead.
Real fast. It's not even about win-losses. When you become a head coach, let's not even say a big time prominent program like Notre Dame or Florida or somebody like that. I made a video last week about Billy Napier, and I said, when you become the head coach, you wake up in the morning and you do 25 things not related to the kids. Yeah, it might be related to Florida. Yeah, it might be related to the program, but you're not coaching. You're doing, speaking tours and that and that and that. And you're doing 25 things before you even interact with a kid.
Absolutely.
And not
Absolutely.
everybody wants to do that. And
No.
some people just want to be like Gonzo, right, Coach? And that's perfectly fine. Don't beat on them for it, because people are beating on Heartline for not becoming an OC or a head coach. They're beating on Gonzo for the same thing. Some
Right.
guys just like to coach ball, and some guys like to coach ball and be CEOs, but they don't understand.
And you're not moving all over the country every time you turn around either. I mean, you can stay in a program and sit there for a while and be happy. And again, guys, I'm telling you, I think that being an assistant coach, from a coordinator to position coach, boy, your life is just so much smoother and easier than having to deal with, because when you're coaching and at the collegiate level, since that's what we're talking about, but coaching at that level, like you said, Kody,
well, you had a lot of opportunities
to
to go
deal
coach
with
Division I football. I mean, you coached at Midwestern State, but I know you had chance after chance, and you just didn't want to do it.
No, and that's another thing, great point, Jason, because I had some chances to go, to Kansas and some other places, and I didn't
Start
do it
moving
because
around.
of my family.
Right.
But like we were saying, as the head coach, you're dealing with alumni that you're dealing with.
Boosters.
Obviously they always
lawyers.
have the answers. You're dealing with administration. Your athletic director. You're dealing. I mean, it's just you're dealing with all kinds of BS.
Absolutely.
And your job is to keep the program together.
Now, not that Coach couldn't do that, because he did that pretty well. He could schmooze with the best of them and raise money and do all that stuff. But there's levels to this shit for sure, And
and people just don't understand. Listen, they ain't calling Gonzo up if a wide receiver gets a DUI on a Friday night. They're calling Billy Napier or Brett Venable up to the podium and saying, "What is there a culture problem? What's going on here?
Right.
Why is he not accounted for?" They ain't calling Gonzo or the wide receiver coach for OU or anybody else, right, Coach?
No, sir.
John, you are absolutely right on this too. Lance Leipold is one of the best coaches in the country. Make no mistake about it. There's a reason he won 7 national championships. At the lower level.
I think they got an upgrade. The Les Miles deal goes bad.
Oh, dude, it was way better for them to get.
And I think they got.
Les was never going to do shit there.
I think they may have got an upgrade.
They guaranteed got an upgrade. As much as I like Les and all. I think that he did certain things, but his offense was so crap.
He's kind of grimy.
It was antiquated. It was definitely grimy. But
Les,
he was
another one that.
Yeah,
he's like Coach O.
Just kind of half-assed. You know what I mean?
Coach O's the same way.
Hey, you know why? You know why those games with Alabama were good? Because they both were. There was those. Hey, whoever throws the ball first is you're calling them a bitch. You know what I mean? So those were those games, those slobber knockers, and a lot of people love that. A lot of people love it. 6-3 shit like that. I mean, fine.
I'm not pulling up Iowa to watch them.
I ain't one of them
that's
dudes.
What that is.
I could care
right,
less
Coach?
about it. Now, I know Coach loves that stuff, but 6-3 might be perfect for him. But to me, I came from let's light up this scoreboard and see what happens.
I like a mix. I like a mix.
Yeah,
I don't like an
too.
Iowa.
Don't get me wrong. Hey, as somebody who hadn't seen a ton of defense around Oklahoma lately, I'm excited about defense coming back.
Yeah, we talked about during the spring game deal, right? I put money on them.
Yeah.
Hey, you talk about John, and you're doing a lot with Les. This is the same kind of thing as like you look. This guy had Buffalo in the top 25. Buffalo, right? I mean, this dude, and I mean, it's like Kyle Whittingham at Utah. That dude is unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. Does more with less all the time.
How long do you think he stays there?
He's been there for 25 years, bro. He ain't going nowhere.
But he's starting to get some national.
He automatically becomes like. I think they said he automatically becomes like.
Could he get like a
AD
Kentucky
or director of football operations or whatever the hell it is?
No, can he go to a SEC school like Kentucky?
Yeah,
sure. if Mike Stoops can do it, yeah, absolutely.
if Mark decides
Mark,
to
I
say
mean Mark Stoops. I'm sorry.
Mark decides to say I want to go to a different program because
I
I'm
think
topped
Mark
out
is
here.
in the. I don't think he's going anywhere. By the way, why would you? You're making $8 million a year, and you don't have to win but 7 damn games to keep everybody happy around.
If you get a,
you know what though, guys, and I'm going to say this, and it's all different for different coaches, but
true.
Good question there, Jason. Is he only has to win 7 games, gets $8 million a year. But you know what, coaches, I don't care what
I
you
know
say
better
about
than
it.
that. I was fixing to say. I'm just saying myself. I was like, shit, that's a pretty good gig in the SEC.
We got a friggin' ego. Coaches have egos.
That's
and I
true.
don't care who you are. If you're coaching, you say you don't have an ego.
Well,
you're
his
damn
ego's
liar.
on full display all the time. Anyway, he's been fighting with John Calipari since he got there.
Coach. I heard from a little bit bigger bird that Mark Stoops is not the only one with a checkered past with a basketball coach. Is that true?
I think you're correct.
What happened? I missed that, man. My freaking.
I heard from a little bit bigger bird that Mark Stoops is not the only one with a checkered past with a basketball coach, and I had to break him up during an event. Now, cool, calm, collective coach Roybal would not go after a basketball coach, would he?
No, he just didn't like him.
I might have to grab him by the throat and pin him up against the wall, but I would let him back down.
Well, that's what Mark said too. So you want to know the whole deal about that? I let Jason in on that. So what happened was with those two is, unfortunately, the basketball coach brought a 6'8" or 6'9", 225-pound power forward in on a recruiting visit, and he brought him to a football game, and Mark seen him.
Wanted him to go play tight end.
Mark said, "Oh gosh, you can move." And he got him to play tight end, and he never played
you want to talk about egos?
Second.
Coach Calipari's ego's freaking wider than all outside, man. There ain't they don't get bigger than that.
But you know what, guys?
The kid never played a single second for basketball, and he went and played for Mark Stoops in football.
Sure,
as a tight end.
Kids should do what they want to do, though. That's the thing.
Amen,
and that was the one thing
Amen.
about Coach Roybal is that he was pissed off because this is a kid that was never going to play college basketball. He wasn't. He was going to play college football. He did play college football.
Yeah.
Division I college football.
Yeah.
And very few of those kids come out of HOFs, right? A lot of them come out that play basketball a lot of places. I mean, they've played everywhere in the country. They played
Arizona,
in the NBA.
stuff like that. Yeah.
But when it comes, this kid, he was a good player. He was an athlete. So that he was a guy that was going to go out and compete on the basketball court, but he was never going to play Division I basketball. He was going to play Division I football, and the basketball coach, as much as I like that guy too, didn't want him playing football. You're wasting your time. And it pissed Coach Roybal off, and rightfully so. And I told Coach Gilmore that. I said, "What the hell's wrong with you? Sean ain't never going to be a Division I basketball player. Never.
No.
But he might be an NFL safety."
Well, and I tell you what, as a high school coach, and it's
my granddad was the same way. He said you should play whatever the hell you want.
Every spot. You know what? I loved seeing 3 and 4 sport athletes in our program. I mean, and I would push my guy. I would invite the head coaches from the other programs after football season, come in and talk to our guys. If you can take a group to wrestling, great. Because you know what? They were going to get better at leverage. And I loved our linemen to be in there because, man, they got
and linebackers.
Their feet, their feet got better. Their leverage got better.
Wrestling kids? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you say that. I was a wrestler in high school. I made states twice. 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up having a torn ligament in my left knee that set me out for the second one. It happened the first match of the season, and I just kept riding it, and right
That's
before
toughness
state
right there,
decided to
man.
go.
Them wrestlers are tougher than freaking nails, man.
Tougher.
Yeah.
They're built different, cutting weight and stuff like that. You say that, Coach, and it's
Who
funny
was that?
because
Didn't you have a kid that wrestled too in Hobbs too? What was that kid's name? And he got in that was stupid. Remember they had to get that injunction for him to go to state that year. What was that kid's name, Coach?
I mean concussions.
No, it was over a stupid thing. They suspended him and were trying to keep him out of state. It was bullshit. They had to get an injunction. That kid was really good too, but he was a hardworking kid, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But the football coaches used to scout wrestlers. They used to come in during the practices, and they used to be like,
"That dude can tackle, compete, bro.
That dude can tackle,
compete." Hey,
that gets 165 pounds, but he's taken on guys twice the size, and they love the abuse. Wrestlers just love the abuse.
They're tough.
I got a friend of mine from high school, Tommy Powell. Man, this dude, he won. I mean, he was a good athlete, but he won a big dude. He was playing offensive line. He was just nasty, and I mean, the guy was just he just fight you. He was just gonna fight and fight and fight, and. I mean, he probably could have played running back. He was fast. But the dude loved playing line. He loved being a lineman because he just wanted to mix it up, man. Some people are just that way.
The core strength and the grip strength of a wrestler is something else. They develop some kind of strength.
Yeah.
And, it's insane. And, I went through Marine Corps boot camp and, during the tough times, I look back and I'm like, shit, this is no problem compared to 115 degrees in the wrestling room and just getting bludgeoned. And guys, I was going up against Olympic caliber athletes. Spencer Mango, was an Olympian. Ryan Mango, his little brother, was an Olympian. And right down the road was the big school in Ohio that pumps out kids after kids after kids in wrestling. And you know what? You take a lick and you keep coming back. That's what we were taught.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about that. And again, and all sports, guys,
let them play, man. Let them play.
Sport, because guys, 2% of the high school athletes get to go play at the next level.
That's
so
right.
Tell me, come on, man.
Enjoy it while you can.
Let them enjoy it.
Listen, my granddad won. My granddad was a head track coach and a football coach too. But he won 7 state championships in 10 years and got second and third the other 3 years, right?
Well, you know what?
Guys, he would tell his kids, hey, if you want to be out there on the baseball field, get your ass over there and play baseball. If you want to go play golf, go play golf.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, you know what? Even as the head coach, the head football coach, guys, I would volunteer my time to go coach track. Because again,
that's where your wide receivers were coming from.
Exactly.
But also, but you want to let these guys do their thing and kind of see what they're going to be good at.
And they're not.
That was the whole thing is if you enjoy what you're doing. And I can tell you, my granddad stopped coaching when I was pretty young still, right? So, but I can remember the early days he was also the shop teacher there. He was the shop teacher, so he woodworking and stuff. And he had a shop in the back of the house. He opened that garage and it would go into the alleyway. And all of his track kids would just show up all the time. They loved him,
Yeah.
And it wasn't because he was easy on them, because he wasn't. He was meaner than shit. He could be meaner than shit. But they loved him, man. But a lot of it is that he believed in letting kids do what they're going to have to do. And if they wanted to be, like, look, guys, if you love baseball, go play baseball. We're going to win championships and things like that. And if you want to be a part of that, great. But look, if you love something else, go do that, And same thing, he used to always say with his JV teams, Lovington, he coached at Lovington. So his JV teams, he said, we beat our teacher more than they beat us. He goes, the varsity maybe not, but I beat their ass. I had a winning record against them. So
it's
Speedy Faith didn't.
It's funny you guys bring up the 2-sport athlete deal and all of these quarterbacks.
Dude, I don't know anybody. Nobody was a baseball players guy in my town. Nobody was.
But right, Coach. Now these guys are leaning towards these, Lagway out of Texas, baseball player. Kyler Murray, baseball player.
Bro, yeah, Kyler was a top 10 freaking pick in the MLB
Mahomes,
draft.
Baseball player.
Yeah.
So we're starting to shift to these dual sport athletes, especially in the quarterback position, to baseball players. And it's just it's kids that never got told no, you're just playing one sport. And I think it has helped college football immensely.
Oh man, there's studs out there, man. And there is something to be said for, I get it that these quarterbacks, especially with the way it is these days, that but I mean, some of these guys aren't. But obviously baseball, if you're a pitcher or whatever, or even a center fielder like Kyler was, it works for you being a quarterback. It's helpful, right? Because you're the throwing motion, all that kind of stuff. But the truth of it is, I can understand why some of them specialize. I get it. When it comes to quarterbacks and stuff, I get that. It makes sense.
But
that being said,
if you need to specialize, some kids need to, and it's the ones that aren't very good athletes are the ones that need to specialize.
Probably, and a lot of times it is,
because they're the ones that need to focus on one sport just to get better enough to be able to maybe have a shot at starting.
Sure. But the true athletes shine out in all sports, no matter what you put them in.
Look at Anthony Richardson. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the season that he had last year.
Oh, that guy could have been
that guy,
power forward.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. You look at that guy, and
he wrestled at 225.
The person he is too, and everything else. But I mean, you look at that guy, and you tell me something that the dude couldn't do in athletics.
Now, I bet that guy. Break. I bet that guy with enough training could win the Golden Gloves.
Listen, that's what I'm saying. These guys are. There's guys like that. Anthony Richardson. Is he going to turn out to be a great NFL quarterback? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. There's a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen with any of them. You coached against Landry Jones. You know who, you've seen guys like that plenty of times. He could have been a great NFL quarterback. He didn't ever really get the right opportunity. He never. I was talking about that with somebody earlier today. That you just didn't get that right opportunity. Sometimes that happens, or you get the wrong coach, or you go to the freaking Cleveland Browns, for God's sake.
Yeah,
you just don't know. You know what I mean? It just, some of that stuff just happens. But the truth of it is that some of these guys, you look at, hell, he could play 10 positions probably out there. He really could. Anthony Richardson is that dude.
Yeah, linebacker. Tight end, safety. He's got 4.4 speed.
Look at guys
where do you want him?
Cam Newton was kind of hey man, look at that dude. He was a monster.
He could be a Metcalf at wide receiver. What do you want him to do? Coach, I ask you this. We bring up AR real fast, and we got to move on here pretty quick. So go ahead, hurry up with this. Real fast. What do you see him doing at the Colts with their situation?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Colts wise with AR, do you see it? Do you see it favorable, or do you see it no?
Coach wise, I'm a little worried about him. Aren't you? At the Colts.
You know what? I don't know, and I'll be honest with you. I haven't kept up with that very well, to be quite honest. So I don't think I can give you a good answer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, listen, okay, so there's a difference. So we're talking about 5-star guys, though, guys that, and what did AR come in? Was he a 4 or 5-star guy, or what was he? 4-star, right? Because if you look at Jackson Arnold, this is a little bit of a different animal. Now, is Jackson the athlete that this guy is? Probably not, right?
No.
But Jackson can freaking hit, he'll knock down a dime from 50 yards.
Which AR can too. It's just not consistently.
Right. But I'm saying you're talking about a guy that goes and wins the Elite 11, right? Because he hits every throw. He's going to hit more throws than he misses by a lot. And there's not going to be a lot of inconsistencies and things like that. And that's the differences that I would say. Now, does that mean that Anthony can't be great? I don't think so. I think that athletically as he is, if he puts his mind into it, and depending on who this coach is, like, who did they end up with there?
Minus injury. They got
is it that guy from Philly?
No.
The offensive coordinator from Philly?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, maybe. I mean, and truthfully, that guy actually, because Jalen, there's another example of good athlete, not great quarterback, right? Because I'll say this,
Which I think
mean, I'm
Anthony is
not a Jalen Hurts guy. I'm just not.
I think Anthony is a better thrower than Jalen.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't doubt
I
that.
would
I'm
say
not
that.
saying
Because Anthony has an absolute he's got a
cannon.
Brett Favre
and
cannon.
to be fair to Jalen, he can throw it deep. He's just not that accurate dude that you want throwing to that sideline route, and they don't put him in that position. Just like
fine.
Lincoln didn't, they didn't either. So that's the reason why he can lead them to the Super Bowl, because they throw a lot of underneath routes and a lot of bombs. You know, that you don't have to be super accurate. You just chuck it and they'll go run under it, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference. So this guy might be the right dude for Anthony Richardson. He might be. Now, hey man, it's a tough deal though. It's a tough deal.
It's better than going to the Browns,
21.
I guess.
You think Colorado's going to get boat raced, huh? Against TCU? I have a hard time believing that, man. I'm going to tell you, Jimmy. Jimmy, welcome back to the show. But I'm going to tell you right now, TCU's favored by 21. I don't know. We're going to see about that. But here's what I'm going to tell you about. TCU. I'm telling you, that hangover may be something freaking fierce, man. You 67 hung on them in front of God and everybody. And there is more than hype there, bro.
All about defense with TCU this year.
I get it, Jimmy. I understand what you're saying, but it's not just all hype though, man. The guy has completely flipped over that roster. Completely. It's not even the same damn roster as it was a year ago. And I think that the quarterback there, I think his kid is better than the one at TCU. He is. And if it comes down to that, I don't know. We're going to find out. But I think defensively, I think Coach is right. If they've gotten bigger in the trenches, but I think I think we all know this, being Oklahoma fans especially, and the very little depth that they've had at OU in the trenches for the longest time on defense has been the biggest issue. You can outscore people all day long, but when you got to go out there and hit somebody in the mouth, can you do it? I think that's the biggest question for Coach Prime. I do. I think that's the biggest question for him is, are you going to be able to get those mammoth dudes to come in there and do that? Now, I want to segue out of this, and I want to talk about the Pac-12. It appears it's about dead now, guys. I don't know if you were watching any of that, but you have Brett McMurphy that has been talking about it. And look, I've been all over this for a long time, and I've been saying it. I'm sick and tired of some of these Pac-12 monkey business crap. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of people talking about, hey, is it going to be though? I mean, why is the Pac going to be tough for a first-year coach? We'll jump back into this other people, but why? Tell me why, Weston. Because I think you've got a few good teams and you've got some really crappy teams in the Pac-12, and they didn't play outside of man. And here's even with USC. I think USC is beatable to a lot of teams. I think they lose 4 games this year. I really do. I'm not buying all this crap.
So who's their best? Let's break down the Pac-12 real fast.
Who's the best team? Probably Washington or Utah. I like Kalen DeBoer a lot, man. That dude was killing it at Fresno State.
So you got Washington, Utah.
They busted Texas's ass up in the Alamo Bowl last year.
And USC.
Busted them up. And
the rest are below 500.
A lot of them are going to be. Yeah, and here's the thing. I think they've got some good coaches. Dillingham's going to be good. I think that that program is down right now at Arizona State. I think that the coach at Arizona is pretty good too. Arizona's a tough place to win, man. You're just not – the recruiting there is tough. But I think Coach Fisk is pretty good. I think that coaching wise, they've done a pretty. I like Kalen DeBoer. I love Kyle Whittingham. I mean, I like Coach Prime more than a lot of people do. I think that freaking Dan Lanning is a hell of a coach.
Yeah, but what are they going to do about TV time is the problem.
No, that's the point. The Pac-12 is toast, man. And this is what Brett McMurphy from the Action News, he used to be with ESPN. This guy is one of the best in the business. He's been covering college football for 30 years, so I don't want to hear from these Pac-12 fans that this dude's full of shit, because he isn't. Okay? I'm going to tell you now, this is done. They've already basically vetted Oregon and Washington. They vetted them. They've approved them. And it's up to Oregon and Washington to make the move. Because the problem is that the big – this is the funny shit. The Big Ten doesn't want the blood on their hands of the Pac-12. Asshole, it's already on your hands, okay? You poached USC and UCLA after shaking their hands. You already shook their hands. The blood's already on your hands, dude. It ain't coming off. That stain ain't coming off, period.
Oregon and who?
Washington. It's already done.
You're already out west. Why not?
Listen, and this Coach and I were talking about this a week or so ago. How long do you think SC and UCLA were going to be happy having to spend every freaking week in the Midwest? You need some travel partners, man. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't have it. And not even so much the football team is one thing. Think about these basketball teams. Right? Think about the every other sport except for football.
So,
right? How much is that? I mean, dude, this was never going to work like that. I don't care what anybody says or what and all this bullshit about the freaking, it's just a different culture out here in the Pac-12 bullshit. It doesn't have nothing to do with none of that. It doesn't have nothing to do with freaking academics and AAU. None of that shit matters.
Talking
and
culture?
I don't Tony Altimore and dude.
Culture in the Pac-12?
They're a bunch of knuckleheads.
Go to the swamp. Dude. Go to LSU.
They're talking about they made it about stuff that it wasn't because they had nothing else to talk about. That's the whole thing. They had no other reason to be able to say we want to keep this together. And then even people like Utah, which I mean, I went into it being a fan of Utah, but I've watched all of this trash being said about the Big 12. And I mean, they never went after the Big 10 for poaching SC and UCLA and starting all this mess. They went after the Big 12 and talking all that smack about how they're so academically superior out on the freaking West Coast. What a joke,
has
dude.
A top 10 public university,
bro,
in the nation.
Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
and we win everything minus football.
I'm just gonna
We're winning natties everywhere.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this. Period. None of the shit matters. It doesn't matter. Look, if you're in AAU school, you get to continue doing AAU research. And Coach, you've been in colleges before, right? That fundraising that gets done for the school, for say your medical program, how much of that shit's going to the football team? None of it. And if it was, then they would have taken the deal from ESPN and Fox a year ago.
But I ask you guys this.
If they had when Tony Altimore was talking about that $774 million that they raised, if it was for their fucking hospital the year before that year that he was talking about, not a dollar of that shit went to the freaking program. None of it. And if it did, none of them would have even considered leaving. They would, period. Bottom line, they wouldn't have cared. They would have taken the 31-7 that the Big 12 took from ESPN. They would have. Instead of freaking, because if it wasn't a problem, then they wouldn't have cared.
Jason.
What a joke, bro.
I ask you this because I already know the question. I already know the answer. It's like when I ask my kids when they're in trouble. I got a very, very, very good friend close to the Alabama program. You know what happens every time they win a national championship? A damn hospital goes up or some medical facility. So it's funny.
That's the whole thing is that
you win natties on the football program.
Who said that last week? He said, your football and basketball teams and stuff, this is the front porch of your university.
Am I wrong, Coach? Every time Alabama wins a national championship, damn hospital goes up.
Think about it. Think about what that means.
LSU, man. Same way. Joey B wins a national championship. My stepmom is not only an alum and a booster, she's a nurse down in Louisiana. They built 3 Ochsner hospitals. Ochsner is really big down south.
Yep.
Sponsored by LSU.
Exactly.
But think about it. But that's because they're
Is that
bringing
magic?
It's
Is it
worth
magic?
a lot more for you to see these
Oh,
schools
it's tax money
at
It's
the
a tax
highest level.
write-off.
When you start
Yes.
seeing them up there, that brings students in because of it's about the whole thing.
Guess
The experience of going to college, man.
Yep.
I mean, if you get to go and enjoy it, and you got a great football team, or you got a great basketball program, or whatever, you know, it's something more than just you going to school, right? And so this is Koo said it perfect. He said that's the front porch of your university is these football programs and basketball programs. So if any of that shit had ever mattered, then if any of that fundraising had ever mattered, it would have been done a long time ago. We'd have been talking about something else. Yeah. But you get these ridiculous, these stupid narratives out there. And I got to tell you, I know somebody who is on the Arizona State Board of Regents. And when I was talking about the academic stuff, this person said to me, hey, I'm going to tell you something right now. If that's the life raft, this is the exact words. If that's the fucking life raft that we're hanging on to, there's no reason for the pack to stay together. If we're talking about AAU and academics, if that's the only life raft we got, kill it. It's over.
Well, it's funny because we bring up national titles, and LSU's nursing and doctorate program went from 25. Joey B wins a natty, and they go all the way up to number 5 in the nation.
But the point is that
overnight for 3 years.
One thing doesn't have anything to do with the other, except for your visibility. It helps with your visibility.
Well, the money,
but it's the money. Listen, bro.
When the football team is winning, there's more money in the school.
You were never going to lose whatever research money you got because you changed athletic conferences. That was never going to happen.
That's what I'm saying is the Pac-12 is full of shit. Because Louisiana State University,
we're getting attacked over it. We are getting attacked over it, for telling it like it is. And it was just ridiculous. It's just so dumb.
Well, it's just like when the Pac-12 said that the SEC is just a bunch of dumb football. It's a dumb football program. Yeah, they shade. Yeah, because the Pac-12 said, and the Big Ten has said it too. Yeah, you can go get a degree from the SEC, but unless it's in football, it's not worth a damn. Okay, whatever.
Whatever, dude. There's AAU programs there too. And here's the deal. AAU's like, I've said this too. It's like being in the fucking Rotary. Anybody can do it. You just got to have a hospital.
You got to sign up. And you got to donate.
You can go be in the Rotary. I could be a Rotary member if I feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah, we can all become Masons tomorrow.
Exactly. That's the point. And it's not the only one out there either.
Sorry, Coach. How you about choked on your
In any event, I'm just glad
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
It looks like this is all over with. And I gotta tell you, we
could all be Masons tomorrow because we all know one.
I think every one of us can sit here and say, though, that there's no joy in seeing a conference die. I don't think that there is. I think that a lot of what we're sacrificing for all this money and all this stuff that's going on with the playoff and everything else and all this, you're sacrificing a lot of these regional rivalries. Oklahoma ain't playing no more. I don't like that.
But guys, we've been having this conversation for quite a while now that the conferences aren't going to look the same anymore. They're going to completely change. Right. And that's all we're seeing right now is
a lot of what's going on with this Oregon and Washington stuff is they're loading up to get ready. They really want Notre Dame, so they're doing whatever they freaking can to make it even more attractive.
You bring up Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's in a basketball deal already with the ACC, and you cannot be in two separate. Correct.
Not yet. No, and see, that's all. Hey, listen, I don't think that's coming right away. I don't think that's coming right away anyway. No. But I think that what they have to do, here's the thing though, they're already trying to Notre Dame's asking for $75 million and nobody really wants to give it to them for a partial schedule.
Well, if they say ACC, we'll give you the full schedule, then the ACC
They don't want to go to the ACC.
They don't want to, but they're already obligated via basketball. They have
Not
to.
in football, they're not, though. They're independent, and they want to stay that way.
I understand they're independent, but they cannot go to the SEC or the Big Ten because they are an ACC basketball program. You can't,
at the moment, your rules don't change. I think they'd go to the SEC before they'd go to the Big Ten, to be honest with you.
But I think Big Ten's a better fit, but
maybe, except for nobody in the Big Ten's ever liked them and never wanted them. The whole anti-Catholic Michigan hated.
It doesn't matter. It's money. When it all comes down to it, we talk about BYU.
Ask the Notre Dame alum what they think about that.
I don't care what the Notre Dame alum. I don't care what the boosters think. I don't care what anybody thinks. It comes down to cold hard cash.
The Catholic Church matters, bro. They're going to decide on that.
As a great rapper said, cash cream. Cash rules everything around me, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
the Catholic Church runs Notre Dame, brother, just so you understand.
That's fine. I understand. I'm a Catholic. I know who runs Notre Dame. I get that. I get that. I'm saying this.
Touchdown Jesus says
it's not like Notre Dame needs a ton of money. That's the thing. They don't have to make this decision yet. The only thing that's really going to move them
the Big Ten
is if they can't get into the playoff.
If
they make it to where they can't be in the playoff.
That's the only way they'll make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten wants them so bad. You think they give a shit about if they said Maryland or Illinois or Notre Dame? They would ex-nay those guys so fast.
Who they want to play, but they want to play their natural rivals. They want to continue playing. I think the USC move into their
Notre Dame will play anybody anytime. That's the great thing about Notre Dame.
I agree. But they still want to play Stanford. That's why I think Stanford is the next one. I think they're coming too.
Okay, so
it won't be long.
You book them on a deal for home and home. It's not that big a deal, guys.
I'm aware they're going to play who they're going to play.
Notre Dame is a national brand, and if the Big Ten can scoop them up and get all that money.
The way that they're going to be able to do that, though, is by doing what they're doing right now and building that conference up, getting Stanford to come in next. They already got USC. They've got their natural rivals already there. They play Michigan a lot anyways. They play Purdue. A lot of these schools that they play year after year after year, this is what Notre Dame is. Right?
Coach is a Notre Dame fan. Where you want to be, Coach?
I was just thinking that in my head, and I think, I really don't give a shit, to be honest with you. This old saying that we talked about, we even used to talk to our kids about this. Little ones bunch up, big ones line up, because either way, we're going to kick your ass. So at the end of the day, I don't care where we go. I really don't. Because like you said, we're going to play anybody anytime. It doesn't matter.
But if it made it official, I have to be in a conference, would you rather ACC, SEC, Big Ten, or Pac-12, or the Big 12 for your
SEC.
school? If you're on the board, on the board
SEC
administrators,
would be more fun.
SEC.
Yeah,
let's go to the SEC.
I'd love to see them in the SEC because it just pissed a lot of people off. I think it'd be awesome.
Well, it's the greatest. It's the greatest conference ever.
This is the best conference, bro. It's the best conference.
It is. But you weren't saying that.
That's what
all right, folks. Mars, what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what. On Tuesday when we do our live, Coach and I, we'll do our top 25 for you because you've been asking for it all this whole time. And then he's asking about the Notre Dame defense, too deep on defense. What are you asking about that? That if he likes it? What do you think about the defense?
They only have one deep in defense. Is that what he's asking?
Is how good is the two deep? Is he asking?
Well, I think I think we're not in bad shape. I feel like we're going to be better defensively this year than we were a year ago. I look at our backups on defense. I feel like inside the defensive ends and nose tackle and defensive tackles, we got some really good guys backing up inside at the tackle positions and nose guard. I feel like our Viper with
You see where they had them in the RPI too? They're way up there, coach, in the top 10 and shit. Way up in the RPI. Top 10, top 5 even, I think.
Yeah.
No, top 10.
Well, that's
guys,
Notre
you know
Dame.
what? You know, I take all that shit with a grain of salt because, like y'all were talking early on, and I wasn't on yet, but you know, all those rankings and shit early on don't mean diddly squat.
The RPI is a weird thing, anyways. It's all on.
It's such BS.
They don't even tell you what it is.
It's lazy. It's lazy.
Yeah,
clickbait is what it is.
I
That's
agree.
all it is.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it'd be one thing if PFF came out with one. You know, a channel that does nothing but analytics and says, "Hey, this is what we think," and this is, you know. But it's ESPN top 25 highlights.
Sure.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Golly.
All right. Well, here's the deal. We didn't really get anything accomplished today, but I hope everybody's enjoyed the show. We did have some fun.
Sure
we dissected defenses.
We talked trash about. Hey, that's where I was getting at. We talked some shit about Texas. We talked some shit about the Pac-12. You know, and
we talked shit about Sark.
Sark a lot. Oh yeah, Texas. That's what I said. Same thing.
Him alone.
Yeah, Sark.
Hey, Jason. Before we get off, though, I do want to say this to the Notre Dame defensive question. Because I thought safety was one of our positions that we're really kind of struggling at, and we just picked up that kid out of Rhode Island, Antonio Carter.
I saw that. Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you what, guy, that his motor runs at a high level. And he's 6'1", 200 pounds.
Well,
that sucker is all over the field.
Hit your ass too, isn't he?
And he will light your ass up.
Yeah, Florida.
I'm excited.
Florida. He picked Notre Dame over Florida. We want him bad, but
yeah.
Hey, listen, and that's the thing is that Tuesday we're going to talk about some more portal stuff. I mean, I've been moving and stuff, and shoot, I'm still kind of in the middle of it, but we'll get together on that. We'll put a top 25, our own top 25 together. Kody, you help us out with that.
Yeah,
let's put us a top 25 together for and we'll get Okie like Kody to jump in on that as well. So we'll come up with that. We ranked quarterback rooms for the Big 12. Let us know what you guys think. Where were we at on our rankings on that stuff? Tell us what you guys think on that. Tell us what else you guys want to talk about moving forward. You know, we're getting close. We're approaching that 100 days until football season starts, boys and girls. We are ready, right?
Jason, you selling any merchandise or anything?
We are selling merchandise, baby. Let's do it. Hey, right above me, make sure you go to the podcast merchandise store. We have all your gear, and it's time to gear up and get ready. Get ready for the season. You can do it in our podcast merchandise store above me, or right below Coach is our Fanatics partner store. Everything in there up to 65% off just for using our link. You know, it's a win-win situation. We get a small commission. You guys get amazing prices. Hey, you can always help the show with tips, Cash App, Venmo, or the Super Chat heart. But as we always say, the free and easy way to do it is just to make sure that you hit that like button. Continue doing what you guys always do. We love our freaking audience here. You guys interact with us. We love interacting with you. You know, if I miss anything in here, it's because you guys are constantly talking. So if you want to make sure, hit that super chat sometimes, and that'll help us out. But we appreciate you guys being in here every time. I mean, this was just kind of impromptu. Kody asked me if I was going to jump on. I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. Let's do it. So wanted to talk a little bit, and, you know, we'll kind of talk a little bit more, but let us know what you think in the comment section. You can always hit me up on Twitter at BirdieManDub. Kody, tell everybody how to find you as well, and tell everybody about your news.
Oh, yeah. So I'm at F is for Fanatic on Twitter, and then also I kind of got scooped up by High Top Sports for the NFL stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. Our first episode is tonight. We broke down some of the
professor.
The professor. Yeah, we broke down some Jag stuff, some NFL stuff. So go check that out at High Top Sports. They got merch also. I don't have merch yet. I'm going to get some merch going. But I just want to thank Coach because I love having Coach on, man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a couple moments to pick your brain.
We love having Coach, man. There's
not much
it's
in
been
this
great.
brain, but I
You've
sure
probably
enjoyed it.
forgot more about football than we'll ever know, truthfully.
Kim, Jimmy, C. John, thank you guys for coming in. Weston, we appreciate it. Mars Jams, hey, all of our regulars in here all the time. Obviously, hey man, look, I'm gonna make sure I don't miss anybody. Brenna, thank you so much for coming in this time too. Matt, we always appreciate you in here. Guys, thanks so much for coming in and seeing us today. I don't want to
Shout
miss
out to
anybody.
Hank. He's going to watch it. You know, Hank is going to watch
Where's Hank
it.
at? Yeah, Hank wasn't here tonight, but I'm sure he's probably out at the lake, man. That's what that dude does.
Yeah, he'll watch the replay.
But we're always got James in here every time as well. He's one of my boys as well. Matt, hey, Kim, these are our regulars. They're always here. We always enjoy seeing you. Thanks a lot for coming. We will see you guys on the next one.
Adela tonight?
Adela didn't she's probably asleep. We did this late. So
has she been working a lot or something?
She does. She's been working quite a bit, and she's got some stuff going on with school and some different stuff. So yeah, she's been a little busy, but yeah, guys, make sure that you hit that like button. We'll see you on the next one on Tuesday. Stay right here, guys. Don't go anywhere. Hey, you guys all know the drill, right? Say it with me. Smash that red subscriber button. Like our videos. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss one moment of the Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. Hey, we even have amazing pod merch